Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. I'm Mike Amos and we're speaking to you from our studios on South Brundy Street in Troy, Alabama, where it is beautiful day after a rainy night. Who would have thought that it was going to rain like it rained? And Steve Kemp couldn't tell me, nobody could tell me that it was coming, but it came in a hurry, and what a tremendous rain we had last night. Steve, what did you have in your rain gauge this morning? Do you know? Well, I tell you what, it was a stormy night, and we got through it, and looks like it's going to be a nice day where we are. And of course, Will Matthews down in Ozark, we're going to expect him to call in this morning. I've looked at most everybody's rackets, and nobody, I'm talking about nobody, I think there might have been one person that has a team in the top four. So our rackets are shameful. But that's the way it is everywhere. You know, nobody could pick them. That's the way it works. Of course, we got a big week ahead with baseball, and in both high school and college baseball, and the major leagues are just around the corner, and we'll be talking some about the major leagues and the Atlanta Braves of old and old new. The Goshen Eagles out to the best baseball start they've had in years under their new head coach, and I tell you, it's a great atmosphere for high school baseball. Goshen in girls softball won a big one, and then the high schools Goshen Eagles won 13-1 over Pike County, and so we'll be talking more about those teams. Of course, Pike Liberal Arts continues to win. I don't have any recent scores, so Billy, if you're out there, give us a ring this morning and let us know how Pike Liberal Arts did with their tournament. Well, not a tournament, but they were in several tournaments during the spring, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I will say this, that the team from Pensacola Catholic, who beat Pike in a very good game at Little Place Field a few days ago. They got their revenge. They lost to Pensacola 5-2 in a very, very well played game. But then, hey, they come back and beat the Pensacola team 12-3. So they got back with them in a big way last week. Of course, our show is brought to you by our good friends at Bird Drugs on the corner in downtown Troy. I can smell that bacon cooking right here from our studios. But I tell you, it's wonderful breakfast in the mornings at Bird Drugs. I want to mention Jane's Flowers and my friend Martha Lynn, and she's been in that business a long time, and I promise you, nobody does it any better than Jane's Flowers on South Brundy Street, Troy. I want to mention Circle Insurance, my good friend Sam Judah, and all the folks located on South Brundy Street, but in Ozark. Their main headquarters is in Ozark, and we appreciate them being a part of our show. We're waiting to hear from Mike Amos this morning from the shores of the Gulf of Mexico. And boy, I don't know if they got all kind of rain, but there was a lot of rain in the forecast. Yes, talking about late, about 5:30 yesterday afternoon, and then last night they opened up all the gutters everywhere. They got tremendous rain, and of course we want to also mention Sandbuck Insurance. My good friend Denny Sanford here in Troy, and of course they've got agencies in Andalusia and in Enterprise for your insurance needs. Also, Sister's Restaurant. Sister's is open today with a delicious choice of vegetables and meats. I'll just say this. You won't be fed any better than you will at Sister's today, and they make sure you got plenty. Good morning, Bill Rice. How you doing?
Good morning, Mike Amos. I'm sorry I'm a little late. My alarm didn't go off.
Oh boy, how many times we heard that? How many times you heard your son or your daughter tell you that my daddy,
If I was playing for Coach Jeffcoat, I'd be running up and downs. And then I'd have a tardy pass if I was still in school. If you get too many tardy passes, they do something to you.
The good thing is Steve fixed me a good hot cup of coffee this morning, brought to you by A1 Services, Terry Moats. I tell you what, whether it is cold or hot, he can handle all your air conditioning and heating needs.
And he's a fine man, and he's helped me many, many times. Yes, do not hesitate. If you need air conditioning, it's getting ready to get hot, call Terry Moats. He'll take care of you. Guten Morgen.
Morning. Did y'all survive the storms?
You know, Mike, I was wondering, did y'all have the storm?
Yeah, it hit around 3 o'clock. Woke me up actually.
So he's down in
thunder, and it was pretty wild there for a second. But I'm looking out in my yard at the live oak trees right now, and normally we have a lot of limbs and branches on the ground after big storms, and I don't see too much. So maybe it didn't last very long.
I'll tell you this: when it came here about 1 o'clock, maybe.
I was asleep. It did get.
Boy, it was a hard rain, and of course, no telling how many. I would say we got well over an inch of rain last night just in one location, and we'll find out today from.
Well, the sun's out this morning. School at Troy City Schools doesn't start until 9. They delayed it.
Oh, did they? I noticed they delayed.
So my wife and children are at home asleep. That's why I'm late, because they didn't get up.
Who wakes up first?
We're delayed down here as well for 2 hours.
I tell you what, it was a terrible storm, and but I think it's going to be a clear day.
Yeah, it looks like it's they could have started at the regular time. You just don't know. I understand that they're using an abundance of caution.
I was too busy working on my taxes. I didn't have enough. That's the only thing I had on my mind. And I tell you this, I did not expect it to rain like it did. It really came down on Crow Hill, Alabama, I promise you. And Michael down in Great Beach, Michael Amos down in Great Beach said it rained on him hard at 3 o'clock.
Well, I saw we had some rain, but
a lot of people down there. A lot of people.
I didn't see any limbs down coming into the show this morning.
Most time you do, don't you?
Yeah, so I think we might have dodged a bullet, because there has been some really bad weather throughout the South.
I tell you, if you want to be around where limbs fall down, I have palm trees in my front yard, and there's always a bunch of limbs and branches that are wrong.
From the palm tree?
Yes, sir, they really do.
Those palm trees are rare and valuable.
But
did you plant that yourself, or has it been there forever?
I planted it myself.
No, we planted those.
Yeah, but I had a lot of help, though.
About killed people trying to plant them, probably. Things are huge.
I tell you what, they will. You won't like moving a light pole. I tell you.
Well, I tell you, when I was in Alabama, we had a big spring party called Shipwreck at our fraternity, and we used palmetto leaves to make roofs for all of our huts that we built, and to give it a tropical Caribbean feel, we not only had the palmetto leaves, we used to get at least one palm tree. Now, the question is, how did the pledges that they sent to get those palm trees get those palm trees? Well, they had to get them from somebody that they weren't supposed to get them from. One year, years after I had left, come back to Troy, I heard that some pledges, they send the pledges to do this. Some of them had been arrested for stealing a palm tree, digging up a palm tree in Florida to bring it back to the Sigma Nu house for the party.
Yeah.
And it was no small matter. Stealing and digging up a palm tree.
Oh God.
I guess the people thought, oh, it's a little funny, harmless college prank, but the law did not think, and the people that had their palm trees stolen did not think so.
Oh man, I tell you, because I know how heavy it was too. I tell you, it was not light.
Well, that's why I asked, because you could be asleep one night, and then you could have a hit squad of fraternity guys out in your front yard trying to dig up your palm tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ask Dr. Mickey Teixeira, a friend of ours, how tough it is to plant and move a palm tree. He's got scars for life trying to put one in his backyard.
I remember that.
I mean, it really is. It's amazing. You go to Alice Beach, and they have this majestic palm trees. That, I mean, they're on both sides of the road. It's the most beautiful part of 30A, in my opinion. Alice Beach with a white, beautiful architecture. It looks like Greece.
It does, and the palm trees set it off.
Those palm trees are just massive, and they have so much money. As soon as one even falls or limbs fall off, they have some company down here that will replace it immediately.
I'll tell you what, those palm trees do not. They cost. They're very expensive.
I wonder how many. I wonder how many there are in total.
You're talking about thousands and thousands.
Oh yeah, exactly.
How many do you think there are? Hundreds of them?
Oh yeah, around all of Alice for sure.
Yeah, but tell us a little story that I found out this week that Alice has right now sold every lot that they've got it on the beach. Isn't that right?
Yeah, the last lot on the beach, according to real estate people, went for $10 million just for the land.
Oh my gosh!
Oh man! Hey, and you wonder what a yuppie looks like. Well, hey, he's one moving into that.
And you wonder how many super wealthy people are with this stock market doing what it's done in the last 20 years. There are just people that can easily afford $10 million.
It's no big deal, is it? I tell you what, when you see all these athletes and you see the kind of money that they're being paid. It's just mind-boggling, They throw millions around like there were hundreds,
Well, say if some athlete gets a $5 million signing bonus, that's probably pretty common 10 years ago. Well, if they just put it in with Colin McCrary and just said pick out your 6 best stocks, those stocks are going to double and double again in 5 years. And your $5 million signing bonus is worth $15 million.
So tell us
$20
about
million.
The market. Is the market a good place to go, or is a cigar box with some all your jewelry?
There are so many millionaires and billionaires because of the stock market. I remember a guy came out decades ago and said stock Dow Jones 30,000. He wrote a book with that title. And people thought he was crazy. Now, he said it was going to happen faster. It took a little longer than he thought. But now I think the Dow Jones average is 34,000.
You're right.
I know.
So the war hadn't affected it much?
It goes down, but then it comes right back up. No, the stock market is inflation-proof. It's war-proof. I think we could have a nuclear war tomorrow, and the stock market would go down a little, and then the next day it would be right back where it was.
Hopefully that's not the case. No. But do you recommend people investing in this?
I'm not going. I'm staying out of it.
How about that old rhyme that mentions?
I've talked to Colin McCrary.
If it's over the 500, if it's take it if they're over the 500, is that right?
Yeah, well, by the what I think is, I think the blue chip big companies are kind of protected Because the pension funds have them, right, Mike? The retirement system.
Well, yeah.
You think they're going to let the pension funds go broke?
No, that's right. That's right.
They can't let the stock market go down.
Yeah.
There's too many people depend on it. So you get the blue chip stocks, the RSA and the insurance companies, when they get your premiums, what do? They invest it in the stock market. So I would just invest where everybody else is investing and assume that these people are not going to be allowed to lose their money. And I was big the other way on gold and silver, thinking that we would have inflation and economic calamity, and you need these safe havens and real money. And they have done the opposite. You think they would be doing fantastic now, and they are not.
You're exactly right.
If you want to invest in something, invest in Texas A&M in the championship game of the NIT tonight, Madison Square Garden, -4 against Xavier.
Against who?
Xavier.
Oh, I didn't know it was Xavier.
I know.
You mean Connecticut got
Xavier?
beat?
Xavier had fired their coach late in the season, and they made it all the way to the championship game of the NIT tonight.
Didn't Xavier have the former Alabama coach as his coach? Or that's Dayton?
No, he's a Dayton.
How did Dayton do? How's Dayton been doing?
They went to the NIT, but Dayton had one of the best teams in America, and a lottery pick, like a top 5 NBA pick, and Anthony Grant was. A lot of people thought was going to be coach of the year and make a huge run in the tournament, and then that's when COVID shut it down. That was the year, Auburn was like 25-6. I think Troy's women was like 24-6.
Yeah.
We forget about that. That's the season we'll never know. Auburn had a great team. Pike Liberal Arts would have won another baseball championship.
Yeah, I know, that's right.
Probably.
But Alabama, the Alabama women's NIT ended up winning 2 more games after they beat Troy. They beat Tulane at Tulane, Houston in Tuscaloosa, and then they went to South Dakota and played South Dakota. South Dakota had 7,000 fans in their arena, and South Dakota beat them by 5.
No, I'm going to correct you.
That was to go to the Final Four, I think.
I'm going to correct you. A minor correction. It wasn't
South Dakota State.
That's right. It's But what is South Dakota State's nickname?
Jackrabbits.
The Jackrabbit. And what is my nickname for my son, Jack?
Jackrabbit.
Jackrabbit.
Yeah.
So I have South Dakota State paraphernalia in our house that has their Jackrabbit logo. I've got a South Dakota State baseball hat and the South Dakota State T-shirt.
Mike, I've got.
And that was the dang Jackrabbits beat my Crimson Tide.
Got to throw that out. Goshen beat Pike County 13-1 over the weekend, and gosh, they're red hot. Greg Avant, Mike, that name's very familiar.
Not Greg Avant. It's Avant, but it's not Greg. He's one of those Avant boys that got Goshen really playing great baseball. They got a guy named Danny Cooper. I think his name is Chandler Avant.
Yeah, that's right, Chandler. My bad, Chandler. I apologize, Chandler, to you this morning. He's got Goshen really playing well. Danny Cooper went 3 for 3. And not in 2 runs. And then Tyler McClendon, Peyton Stemmy, Nick Walters, Hunter Nobles, and DJ Walters all scored 2 runs to lead the attack.
Chandler Avant was a 3-year starter, 2-year starter, or 3-year starter at Alabama.
So he was a
pretty good career.
He really had a great career at Alabama. If he hadn't got hurt, he'd have had an even better. Mm-hmm. I tell you what, Mike, there wasn't a faster guy in the SEC than Chandler Avant. He could fly.
That is, he is one of the trio of outstanding young coaches we have in our county that are all homegrown kids. Not kids now, young men, but.
If you look at it, they were all taught by their daddies. Their daddies put a lot of effort into making sure that they were well drilled themselves, and they come into the coaching segment of their careers, and they all look like they're doing.
They have bright futures. coaches. It'd be fun to follow them.
Yeah. Because,
well, big rumors for the Masters. They claim that Tiger Woods' plane was in Augusta and Tiger Woods played a practice round yesterday. So there's a chance that Tiger Woods could participate in the Masters, which would be huge news.
I tell you, I cannot keep up with golf. And first of all, I don't like the kind of golf we had this last weekend. Some people love it, but
The match play.
yeah, match play. I don't like the match play. But I'm hoping that my old buddy comes out of the woodworks and plays well.
Bubba.
You really like Bubba, don't
I
you?
like old Bubba. He's a good old guy.
Uh-huh.
Bubba will cry. I like
Yeah,
anybody
yeah.
that'll cry, and
I like Bubba,
show
too.
emotion,
Also, breaking news in the NFL. Bruce Arians decides to retire, even though Tom Brady's coming back and playing a third year
Oh,
for Tampa
boy.
Bay. They've promoted Todd Bowles, their defense coordinator, to head coach. Bowles was head coach in the NFL at a couple other places. But Arians has come a long ways, right, from being Mike DeBoe's offensive
yeah,
coordinator.
and I remember that one play that cost him a game against Auburn. I watched. I was right on the sidelines when he did that.
You know, that is a significant in one way. Let's see if y'all can name it.
He also coached for Bear Bryant.
That's
too.
right. So
Yeah.
I think that is the end of the Paul Bear Bryant coaching tree
Yeah.
of people that were on the staff, coached with Coach Bryant, that are still coaching. You know, like somebody like Sylvester Croom could
Yeah.
probably still be coaching, but he's not.
You know what?
But Bruce Arians was on the last staff of Coach Bryant had at Alabama.
You know what Brady might have told them? He said Brady might have said, "I'll come back if Arians is not there."
Whoa.
Yeah, he likes Arians a lot. He had like
You
a
think
long
it is? Well,
statement.
why did Arians quit then?
He had a long statement thanking him yesterday. Arians quit because of I think health issues.
I think he doesn't look that good. I wondered if it might, and he's a little older, so I wondered if it might be health related. It's a tough job, and you know, if you don't have really 100% health, it's hard to do it. So.
But sometimes you know, there's something behind all of this.
No, Brady liked him a lot. I didn't realize this, but Bruce Arians is 69 years old.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't believe this
Nick
when I woke
Saban
up
is
this morning.
69 or 70,
Yeah.
and Nick Saban looks a lot better than Bruce Arians.
Of course, Troy football is working out every day. They'll have a practice today. Their practice schedule is Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and they were real pleased with the scrimmage that they had on Saturday, and looking forward to having another scrimmage this Saturday morning. So that's good time to bring your kids out to and move run around and play, watch practice.
I might take.
It's amazing to hear about Arians and coaching careers. We talk about it all the time, how much these guys travel. So he played at Virginia Tech, actually for an Alabama player, Jimmy Sharp.
That's
yeah,
right.
Remember that well? Yeah.
And he's 69 years old. But listen to this information. He started his coaching career from 75 to 77 at Virginia Tech as a graduate assistant. His first on-the-field head coaching job was at Mississippi State from 78 to 80. He was wide receivers coach, running backs coach. He was running back coach at Alabama from 81 to 82. Then he was head coach at Temple from 1983 to 1988. Then he got in the pros with Kansas City from 1989 to 1992. He went back to Mississippi State as offense coordinator under Jackie Sherrill from 1993 to 1995. Then he went to the New Orleans Saints as a tight end coach in 1996. He was at Alabama for 1 year under Mike DeBose, offense coordinator, quarterback coach from 1997. And then he went to the Indianapolis Colts from 1998 to 2000, Cleveland Browns from 2001 to 2003. And this is when his career really got jump-started again. He went to Pittsburgh Steelers as a wide receivers coach from 2004 to 2006. Then he became the offense coordinator from 2007 2011 and got critical, praise for being an offense coordinator.
That was at Pittsburgh?
Yeah, that was for Pittsburgh. Then he was offense coordinator in 2012, interim head coach of the Indianapolis Colts And then his first head coaching job in the NFL didn't come until 2013, 2017 with the Arizona Cardinals. He led them to the Super Bowl. And then he became Tampa Bay's head coach from 2019 to 2021. Of course, we all know he won a Super Bowl with Brady. But that is an unbelievable coaching career.
Did he win the Super Bowl with the Arizona Cardinals, or he just got him there?
He got him there with Kurt Warner, and they lost.
That's right, yeah.
Well, that you're right. I mean, that is about 25 jobs, and it seems like he averages staying somewhere 2 years. I mean, it's like in the military, don't they move you about every 2 years? This is very similar.
Yeah, but I mean, it's funny. It's funny. Most guys have a better college record than NFL record. In college at Temple, he was 21-39, a horrible record.
Yeah.
And then in the NFL, he's 86-51-1.
Yeah,
so
that's
he was
pretty good.
A lot better in the NFL.
Well, anybody at Temple is going to have a horrible record.
I'll tell you this, they'll always remember him as a offensive coordinator at Alabama. He made perhaps one of the top 5 worst calls in college, at the University of Alabama history.
You know, but think about it. It was a bad call, but Alabama was the underdog in that game and should have won the game.
The thing about it,
so he must have had a good game up until that very last call.
If they would have just hit a knee and punted, they would have been all right. But they were so afraid. I reckon Auburn's going to come back, and instead of punting, they throw a little
flare pass,
to a wide receiver.
I'll never forget it. I was at the game
and he fumbled the ball.
Like
you know, in retrospect, though, but I look, that was about about as safe a pass as you can call, though. Really,
but it was really though. You know, if he drops it, that's it
stops the clock.
Stop the clock.
I to this day think if they had instant replay, that would not have been a fumble, because when he caught the ball and he turned, Martavius Houston, the Auburn safety, hit him immediately. I don't think he had the ball long enough to be a fumble.
Yeah.
I don't think he made it two steps. At all. I think as soon as he called it, he got hit and he fumbled.
Well, Auburn went on down and kicked the field goal and won the game.
You know, that's another game in Auburn where, you know, the one where the guy caught the ball and looked like the picture showed that he had his foot down.
Oh yeah, Curtis Brown.
Alabama's just lost so many games to Auburn that Alabama could have won. I remember one when Pat Dye finally beat Alabama. Alabama had about 300 more yards offense than Auburn did. They had about 5 fumbles. And also, I remember there was I'm the only one in America that will remember that there was a pass interference call on Jeremiah Castile that kept Auburn's drive going. And I'll tell you, folks, that was not a pass interference call on Jeremiah Castile.
Well, I'll tell you this: the Brown thing, the picture was in the paper the next day. It was obvious. It was obvious that he had the foot down and
had the ball,
and it showed it all. It showed he definitely had the ball, and he was down, had that foot down for a touchdown, and it would have been a great play in Alabama history. Because they did not have the.
Well, let's set them up. You got that play. You got that game. Alabama easily could have won. You got the fumble on the system, Bruce Arians' call.
Yeah.
You got the Pat Dye's first win when Alabama had about 550 yards and Auburn had about 300, and they still lost. And the bogus pass interference call. Then you have punt, Bama, punt.
Yeah. I'll tell you another one.
That's 4. Then you have the kick 6, which I actually think Auburn was just as good as Alabama, and then probably would have won in overtime. So I'm not even counting that one. But that's 4 games that Alabama fans say, we could have had. Now Auburn can probably pick a couple that they say the same thing.
Auburn can pick this year.
Auburn can pick this year. Yeah.
I will tell you this: in the Auburn game where our man kicked the field goal right at the last. The play before, he would have been definitely called inbounds, but instead he just sort of crawled out of bounds.
You feel like Greg Richardson.
Yeah, so that was a bad call.
But I want to tell you something though. I think that was a first down play, and the first down play automatically stops the clock.
Yeah.
So the clock would have stopped anyway.
I can remember it so well. It's good.
I don't know though back then, right? I don't know if they had that rule in the 80s.
Right.
I think they did. Everything stopped the clock back then because they didn't care about. They weren't trying to get as many commercials.
Even in the 80s, I don't know if they had that rule.
Yeah,
Doug Layton was doing the color, and the old boy had a new guy doing the play-by-play, but he said, "It's good, it's good, it's good, it's good," and he should have been down, and they called him out of bounds.
That is the one happy victory. Well, I'll tell you, there's two that you thought for sure you're going to lose. It was that Van Tiffin kick game. I was there in the end zone when Van kicked that ball.
Yeah.
And then this year against Alabama, against Auburn, I mean, I thought this is destiny. There's no way Alabama's going to win this game. That's the one where I quit watching it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of went every 20 minutes, went in on the internet and got a score. So really, how did Alabama come back and as awful as they were? Even saying that, you look at the final stats in that game. Alabama wasn't really dominated or outplayed in the game. Alabama had more yardage, but the game just seemed like the whole game was trending Auburn's way. But Alabama found a way to win it.
Yeah.
Saban's had a lot of games like that. I mean, LSU and Baton Rouge, when they hit T.J. Yeldon on the screen pass and they scored that touchdown, LSU had dominated that whole game. I mean, Alabama's offense had done nothing the whole game. It was A.J. McCarron's, I think, senior year. That play to Yeldon was a miracle play. And then also the Georgia game when they brought Tua in, when Alabama was down 13 at the half. I never thought Alabama was going to come back and win that game.
Alabama came back and played well. I mean, they won those games.
Should have won it in regulation. That kid from Montgomery missed the chip shot field goal.
But I mean, that's a game where you play bad in one half and then you have a talk with yourself at halftime and come back and play better. And that's what Alabama did against Auburn. They came back in the second half and dominated the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Troy. I mean, like Dad and I were at the Miracle in Murfreesboro when they came back against Middle Tennessee State. And I don't know how many times Troy got stopped inside the 10-yard line in third and fourth quarter in that game. And, found a way to come back and win it. I still think that's got to be one of the greatest wins in Troy history.
Oh, boy, watch that.
That's why sports is so great. It's live drama. You don't know what's going to happen. The games have ebbs and flows, and momentum changes in games.
Right.
I mean,
Troy got an onside kick in that game, too.
Oh, that was a great play. Yeah. That had to go down as Larry Blakeney's one. I would say his signature win.
Well, they were selling tickets to the New Orleans Bowl in the fourth quarter.
That's right.
I'll tell you another one that Alabama
that
stands out is the Preston Gothard game where
that was the worst.
Penn State was dominating Alabama up by 21 points or something, and Alabama just like they showed some pride and they said we ain't gonna lose or we're not gonna go down with a fight, and they made one of the great comebacks you'll ever see. I mean, they were perfect for 2 quarters, and almost had a victory for all time, which probably should have. A lot of us probably know Preston. Preston Gothard put in a water well at my house in Pike Road. Yeah, he's. I'd see him up in Montgomery.
I knew his sister in Alabama, Dawn Gothard. She was I think, an Alpha Gamma up there.
She was a country girl. I know where he went to school. Where he went to high school, he went to
Lowndes Academy.
Lowndes Academy.
I need to mention the blood drive tomorrow, Dad. Troy Regional Medical Center is having a blood drive on Friday, April the 1st, from 11:30 to 4:30. If you want to schedule an appointment at www.redcrossblood.org.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make
very, very important for us to support this.
Let's come back. Preston Gothard is the answer to a good trivia question involving Coach Bryant. Can anybody answer that? Know what the question is?
What is that now?
Preston Gothard is the answer to a good trivia question involving Coach Bryant.
Are they related some way?
Nope. You got he was the last player that Coach Bryant gave a scholarship to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was a walk-on at Alabama.
Yeah.
And he was on Coach Bryant's last team. Bruce Arians would have been on that staff. And Bryant, right before he died and was a coach, gave Preston Gothard a scholarship. You know, and then he
actually, Rice, you're technically wrong because Coach Bryant set up scholarships for all his former players' kids, so he gave scholarships for years and years to come.
Well, that's true too. But then Gothard played for Ray Perkins.
How did you not get that scholarship at Alabama when you went there? Were you on an academic scholarship already?
Well, I was on the Army ROTC scholarship for my first 2 years, but it's for need. It's by need on a need basis. You know, if my parents could afford college tuition, and so they didn't even ask for it, or so it's not like guaranteed that if you played for Coach Bryant, your son's going to get a scholarship. It's if your family needs it to help out.
Yeah.
And it's really the truth be told about that. The scholarship, Coach Bryant started it, but who has really made sure it continued on is probably Paul Bryant Jr.
Well, I'll always remember Coach Paul Bryant wrote me a letter when I was a high school senior, and the last thing he said, remember, Bama is interested. I never heard from him again. But I got that letter personally.
Where is that letter? I wouldn't mind holding on to that one. You really still have that?
I've got a few. One I did keep. Ken Meyer was he was supposed to be a guru type offensive coordinator.
You kept Ken Meyer, but not Paul Bryant.
I don't know what happened to Coach Bryant, but Ken Meyer was wrote me a note before then, where he just but Coach Bryant he said, remember, Bama is interested.
That was the thing back then. If you got a letter, it was a big. Bobby my little brother was a pretty good football player, and I remember he got a recruiting letter like that from Bobby Bowden at one point.
Another thing about it, I think they could sign 50 people. I think 50 or 60 people.
You think there's any chance that Bryant personally wrote all those letters?
I don't know, but I'll tell you this.
You think it was a secretary?
He didn't want any 180-pound linebackers. I guarantee you, he didn't want them.
He had a wonderful secretary. I've read a lot of books about Coach Bryant, and he had this one secretary that was with him for many years. And I met Coach Bryant a couple of times, and I remember that secretary, because that's who you would see before you would go into his office, and she was fantastic.
I was going to play with something this morning that I was thinking about this coming over here today. You let me know where these guys played their college football. Where they were from, where their home went. Where was Jay Barker from? Hewitt Trussell, you got it. Where was Stedman Shealy from?
Dothan.
Where was Richard Todd from?
Davidson High School in Mobile.
Okay. Where was Terry Beasley from?
He's from
Montgomery.
Wetumpka?
No, from Montgomery, Robert E. Lee High School.
Oh, yeah, okay. I think he later moved to Wetumpka.
He did. He did years ago.
But he's from Robert E. Lee, okay.
Yeah, that's right. And Mike Colon, the great linebacker from Auburn.
He was from Birmingham, wasn't he?
That's right, from Birmingham.
Captain Crunch?
Captain Crunch, yes sir, yes sir.
Yeah, I met him a couple of times. My sister was friends with his son.
He owned a fitness place in Montgomery for a long time, remember? Right by I-85, off to the right. He owned that big fitness center.
John Hanna, where was he from?
Albertville, Chattanooga, I guess later.
That's right. He went to
the prep school there.
Went to prep school. And see, his daddy could afford.
He got a Baylor prep, I guess.
Yeah.
See, his daddy could afford to send him anywhere he wanted to, and he just said, "I'm gonna send him to a prep school."
I think all the brothers. Some of them went. I think there was John, then there was Charlie, and then there was David. They all played at Alabama. Charlie Hanna was a great football player at Alabama. He was a defensive lineman. Well, he gets drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they're a franchise team, and he plays his first 2 years in the NFL as a defensive lineman. He's a pretty good defensive lineman. He's been a good defensive lineman his whole life. Then they move him to offense, And for the next 10 years, he's a great offensive lineman. But can you think of any player in the NFL in recent years that you can think of that played 2 years on defense and then they move them to off? I can't think of anybody since.
Exactly. Yes. I want to mention, we were talking about Jimmy Sharp. Do y'all know where he was from?
Well, he coached at Virginia Tech.
I know, but
He must have recommended Bruce Arians to coach
he
Brown.
weighed 190 pounds.
I think he was born and raised in Tuscaloosa.
Nope, you're wrong. Sidney Lanier High School, Montgomery, Alabama. And Jimmy Sharp was a 190-pound offensive tackle when he.
That's where Dickie Calhoun went to high school, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Where he went to high school. Our lawyer, but
where was Cornelius Bennett from?
Oh, out
Is he
here.
from Inslee?
Inslee, you're right.
Inslee, that's right.
Where was Bobby Humphrey from?
Bobby
He's
Humphrey.
from around Inslee as well, Birmingham area.
I know it's in Birmingham, but all I remember about him is that he was he came out with Gene Jelks and Bobby Humphrey were the great running backs that year. But Bobby Humphrey had played on a terrible high school team. I remember that. That was very weird.
And he was a running back.
Normally, when you have a great running back, you're going to win some football games.
He was looked at. He played tailback, Mike, his senior year in high school.
Gene Jelks played at Amos Sampson of Gaston.
Yeah.
Oh God, what a train wreck he became.
Mike. Jelks came out of Gaston. Okay. How about Colenso Hubbard? Where did he play where did he come from? No, I don't think y'all will get it. Where now?
I don't know.
I remember
Colenso Hubbard. You remember him?
Yeah, he was a defensive lineman.
He was from out here at Mulga. And Coach Bryant said he's from out here at Mulga.
Where is Mulga?
It's right outside of Bessemer.
Mulga's outside of Birmingham.
Thought I might get you on that.
What a weird name for a town, Mulga.
Yeah, and of course.
What if you had a child, a daughter, and you named her Mulga?
Yeah.
What town in Arkansas Dad was Bear Bryant from? You still remember? Fordyce.
Well, or Morrow Bottom, if you want to even get more out of it.
Fordyce,
I think Fordyce was kind of the big town like right, Goshen, and Morrow Bottom was where he really lived.
Oh gosh, you know
he would go in he would have to hitch up the donkeys or the mules, and he and his mom would go in the Fordyce and sell vegetables.
Yeah. On
cold days, and he did not want to come back to that life, Mike. That's right. If you say what drove Coach Bryant, he remembered those.
That's right. He didn't want to come back to farming. He didn't want to plowing. He said, "I don't want to go back to plowing."
He didn't want those cold mornings.
Number 22 was the most perhaps the most popular player to ever play for Alabama. He was a great player, great college player. What was his hometown?
It was Birmingham, and
Johnny Mitchell.
And he played in Birmingham at the same time as the great Pat Sullivan. Let's mention some Auburn players.
Right.
Sullivan played at John Carroll, and Musa played at Banks.
Yep, the Banks had all those great teams. Where did the Rutledge boys come out of? And tell me both of them what they.
Banks?
No,
one Banks.
Tell me where.
Woodlawn.
Tell me where the Rutledge boys played their high school football, and tell me their nicknames.
Well, you had Jack and Jeff.
I thought one of them was at Banks High School.
No, you're wrong, Mike.
Well, I remember that.
Jeff Rutledge was the better player, and then I guess the other one they called.
Listen, the Rooster. They call him Rooster. You remember that? What was his first name?
Jeff was a better player than his brother.
Bigger prospect.
Oh yeah.
Jack, his older brother was really good though, but he got hurt. He split time with Richard Todd, and he would have had a bigger career. But I think his senior year he was going to be the starter, but he hurt his shoulder, and he came back and played the last 2 games. See, I can remember all this stuff.
They had I know exactly, but I tell you, y'all missed out on Rooster. Rooster
I said Rooster, and I said Jack. That's his name.
But his name was Jeff, not Jack. His name was Jeff.
No, Jeff was the better player. I already mentioned
Jeff
that.
was the baby brother.
Yeah, but where'd you get Jack?
That's Jeff's big brother. It's Jeff Rutledge and Jack Rutledge.
No, that was not right. We're not.
He just was going by his nickname, Rooster. That's what they call
Jack
him.
Rutledge's nickname was Rooster, but his real name, his God Christian name was Jack Rutledge.
All right, but we're not talking about the same one. We're talking about Jeff Rutledge's brother, who
That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about Jack Rutledge, the assistant coach.
but his name wasn't Jack.
No, it wasn't. Gary Rutledge.
Gary Rutledge.
You're right. There
Gary
was.
Rutledge.
I'm sorry. You're right.
A lot of my friends are wanting to go to the phone and tell us that. Let me tell you, he was.
There was a coach named Jack Rutledge, but you're right. The brother of Jeff was Gary Rutledge.
Gary Rutledge, the Rooster, made one of the biggest plays in Alabama football history. They were playing on national TV against the Tennessee Volunteers. Beautiful Saturday afternoon in Birmingham. The first play from scrimmage, what happened?
He throws an 80-yard touchdown pass to Gary Wheeler.
To Wheeler.
You're right. I don't know if it's Gary. Is it Gary Wheeler or?
No, it was.
What's
but it
his
was Wheeler. Wheeler made the.
Wayne
Wheeler. That's right. But Wayne Wheeler made the catch, went 80 yards for a touchdown on the first play of the game.
I remember it. Yep.
And I can always remember that.
Isn't that funny? I remember it too.
Richmond Flowers, where did he go to high school?
Sidney Lanier.
So that's Sidney Lanier, great player, but he played at the University of Tennessee.
Didn't his family though move from Dothan?
Yeah, that's right. See,
Because his dad was the Attorney General of Alabama, right? That's why they moved to Montgomery.
Tommy Wade was a great player at Alabama, along with Curtis Hillman, a great player at where they play their high school football. Curtis Hillman went to Georgia. Tommy Wade went to Alabama. Where do they play their high school football?
I don't know. I do not know.
Tommy Wade. You don't remember the great Tommy Wade?
Nope.
Tommy Wade.
I remember the name. I remember the name
from Dothan High School. Tommy Wade. I played against him in high school, and then Curtis played at Georgia. He signed with Georgia instead of Auburn, Alabama. He was just equally as fast as
Tommy Wade?
No, yeah, as Richmond Flowers.
Really?
Yeah,
Richmond Flowers could fly.
Yeah,
I wonder what Richmond Flowers is. Richmond Flowers still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Where's he live?
I think we lost Curtis Hillman though.
Did Richmond Flowers end up in? Did he stay in Tennessee?
Yeah, he stayed in Tennessee, and he was known more for his track ability. He was a great track star.
But wait, where did he live as an adult out post athletic? Because I think he had really some anger about the state of Alabama because he thinks his father was not treated well.
That's right, exactly. And I'll tell you this: he was well known, and he was a big name in Tennessee football history. He really was.
I think he played in pros for a couple of years.
Oh yeah, he did. He could fly. He had great speed, and he was a great athlete, no question about it. Of course, this is sort of fun to see who can remember these guys and where they were from.
Well, you got players from Alabama that go to Tennessee. That's rare. I'll tell you the most famous one, besides Richmond Flowers, might be the most famous one. I've heard Richmond Flowers story, but another one was Conridge Holloway.
Conridge Holloway, little quarterback out of Huntsville, Alabama.
And Coach Bryant told him straight up, they recruited him hard as a defensive back or wide receiver, but he said Conridge were not ready yet for a black quarterback. This would have been 1970, 71.
I'm going to get
and
you
so, and Conridge Holloway said, well, I appreciate you being honest with me anyway, Coach. And so he went to Tennessee and played for Bill Battle.
Yeah.
But you think about it, what a blunder. Conridge Holloway would have been the perfect wishbone quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he could pass it, too, but that guy could run.
Exactly. Who did Tucker Frederickson, where did he come from? One of Auburn's all-time great players. In fact, my favorite ever Auburn player.
Tucker Frederickson.
From Central Phoenix City?
Nope. Nah. Can y'all Tucker Frederickson looked like a Hollywood movie star. A lot of my buddies.
He was from Destin, Florida, wasn't he?
Nope. Ball.
He's
You're
from Florida.
close. You're
He's from
fairly
Florida.
close. You're fairly close.
He's from Florida.
He was from
Milton?
no, not Milton.
We're gonna guess all day. We're not gonna get it.
From Baghdad, Pensacola?
No. Tucker Frederickson was from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, Hollywood, Florida. Actually, Hollywood, Florida. Was
That's pretty far south.
Then there's another guy that made a pretty big name for himself at Auburn, and his name was Mickey Zovko.
Wasn't
Y'all ever
Tucker
heard of that
Frederickson
name?
like one of the top draft picks in the NFL?
Tucker Frederickson was one of the top players in the draft his senior year. He signed.
What position did he play? Line?
They played him both ways back then, but he was a safety, great safety, no question about it. But he was a running back, and he played running back for the New York Giants for about 4 or 5 years, and then he had a bad knee injury that cost him his career.
Who was his coach? Shug Jordan?
Shug Jordan. And
he played in the early '60s, late '50s.
yeah, the same people that recruited Zovko. Zovko was also from I want to say Satellite Beach, Florida.
Where was Shug Jordan from?
Shug Jordan was from Selma.
Mm-hmm. Now he was an authentic war hero in World War II.
Yeah, you know the shuffle pass. A lot of people give Shug Jordan they say he invented the shuffle pass.
I didn't know that.
They call it the Selma pass back then.
Well, Coach Bryant called it the whoopee pass.
The whoopee, yeah.
So we take a Milo's tea break?
Who?
A Milo's tea break.
I'm ready to take a
I'm going to take a
Milo's
Steve
tea
Camp
break.
coffee break.
We'll be back with more of these guess where he was from in a minute.
Slam Dunk Savings are in Troy. All used cars, slam dunk price. All used trucks, slam dunk price. All used SUVs, slam dunk price. Plus, all you need is a weekly take-home income of $350. Nobody beats a premier deal. Nobody.
The all-new Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center brings all of the latest and advanced 3D mammography and breast ultrasound services to the Troy area in our all-new outpatient facility. Dr. Lauren Thorington, along with our team of certified breast specialists, read your mammograms, which are performed by our registered radiologic technologists, bringing the best in women's health care to the Troy area. Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center.
I wish you could taste how much better food tastes when cooked on a Green Mountain grill, but I can let you in on the reason that's true. Our pellets contain water, so they create steam while you cook, keeping your food moist. Does a gas or charcoal grill do that? I think not.
Come and see us at Southern Grill and Patio, just off the square in Troy.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
By Troy.
On Troy Cable. Now C-Spire.
And thanks to C-Spire that we're still on board here. And we also want to mention the Pike Tree Service located in Troy, Alabama. Call them at 372-0167. I bet there's some limbs down there, maybe some trees down there.
I say that there were two little fairly modest-sized limbs in the side of my yard, but they'd actually blown down yesterday afternoon. You know, yesterday afternoon it was really blowing.
Yeah, it was blowing real hard.
And it was sunny, and it didn't look like a storm, but I noticed coming down Murphy Street, I looked at a stop sign, and that stop sign was shaking. You know, the wind was. So there were 30-mile-an-hour winds at, 4 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday.
Yeah.
That's what got those two little limbs in my yard.
Of course, back to our show, and of course we appreciate all of our sponsors. Southeast Gas District, located in home headquarters in
I like Sarah's logo. That's on the screen right there. That looks really bold. And
Oh
stands
yeah,
out.
it's really good. And also located in Andalusia, where the home headquarters is of Southeast Alabama Gas. And we have numerous stores all over the Wiregrass and Central Alabama.
Move your head to the side. Let's see what everybody can see. A1 Services telephone number, Terry. If you
4220.
42. If you need to call Terry Moats, if you got air conditioning issues,
Have you noticed something? Look.
566-42220.
Right, I got a mop on the top of my head like you do.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a wig today, ladies and gentlemen. It's a wig. It's got curly hair. It's a wig.
Looks good.
Mike, who does it look like to you?
What do you say?
I'm wearing a wig. Can you believe I'm wearing a wig on this show?
Actually, I'm not able to watch y'all, so I have no clue what you look like.
We're going to have to remedy that.
I was going to wear my blue blazer, and then I finally asked my wife, what time is it? She said 6:58. I said, ah!
I sort of...
So I didn't take the time to put on my blue blazer.
You know, let me tell you, that's my natural look, is curly hair.
I know. Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Actually, that's actually what I always will remember is how wild and crazy your hair is.
That's right.
So curly for so many years.
It was about the color of rices.
So I didn't know that. When you were a younger man, you said you was kind of a red or strawberry blonde like me.
This guy was one of the best blocking backs and one of the overall best football players ever played at Alabama. His name was Randy Billingsley. Where was he from?
I remember him. He was from the early 70s.
He's from Abbeville.
Nope. Bon.
I don't know.
He was a great one.
That's where Leroy Cook was from, wasn't it?
Who?
Leroy Cook was from Abbeville. That's right.
Leroy Cook was from Abbeville. Yeah. All right, Randy Billingsley. I don't believe y'all gonna get this.
Randy Cook.
He was a great running back. He was a good running back, but he was a great blocker. He'd knock you on the ground all the time. And he's the one that blocked for Johnny Musso. Randy Billingsley was from a little old town west of Birmingham. Can you name it?
West Blockton.
No, you were wrong. Bump again. Sylacauga. Russ Wood. He's headed.
This is off the subject, but really sad news out of Hollywood yesterday. One of my favorite actors is having to retire due to health issues. Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
He's got some issues. I don't even know how to pronounce this. APHASIA.
You know, I've been hearing a lot more about it. It's a symptom of, some people say it's related to the vaccines, but I mean, that's where I've heard about it. But it's called aphasia, and then it's a neurological condition that affects your recall and memory and
Your speech.
Yeah.
Cognitive disorder affects a person's ability to communicate, and often develops in individuals who have had suffered strokes.
So he, anyway, whatever caused it or why, it's sad. Bruce Willis has always been one of my favorite actors.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, he's 67 years old, but interesting in this story is Bruce Willis's last movie was being shot in Birmingham, Alabama. And I had several friends we know that met Bruce Willis, and they mentioned that he could barely communicate off the screen. And that they had met him, and they felt like something was even wrong with him then. They were kind of shocked. And then, like, these articles would come out, and people would send me texts saying, well, maybe he was acting this way because of health issues.
Yeah, that's the stories I've read.
He was in Birmingham, Alabama, doing his last movie.
I just remember seeing a picture somebody put on Facebook of him where he was wearing an Alabama hat or a T-shirt, Crimson Tide hat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's where he was shooting the movie.
But the stories I've read said the same thing, that it was really tough for him to deliver his lines and get through these movies the last couple years because of this condition, which must have been, much worse than people realize. But 67, that's pretty young.
Yeah, I know it. I hate it for him. Terry Davis, the quarterback, Terry Davis, for the Alabama Crimson Tide, as Terry Davis brings them out. He's good, brings them out in a full wishbone set to give to Johnny Musso. Musso, touchdown Alabama! That makes a lot of guys feel chill bumps. So everybody loved Musso. Where was Terry Davis from? If you get it, I'm gonna give you $100.
He's from some town like that, yeah, like.
Somewhere in Louisiana. Bogalusa.
You're right. So
Give him $100.
No, I was meant to change my mind. I'll give him a cup of coffee. He loves coffee, and I was gonna give him some coffee.
No, I'm the umpire. You said I'll give you $100, and right when you said that, he said Bogalusa.
You win $100 bill.
But where is Bogalusa?
Bogalusa, Louisiana. How did you? He probably looked it up on a computer.
No, I didn't look it up on a computer. I've been doing this show for 9 years. How many times do you think you talked about Terry Davis?
He is from, Coach Brown said he's from Bogalusa.
Who was Terry Davis's backup quarterback?
Was Jacobs, Don Jacobs.
No, that was much later. He was Stephen Schuler's
Where was
backup.
Don Jacobs from? That's a good
Let me
good
finish.
question. All right, go ahead.
Terry Davis's backup quarterback, the year Alabama went to the Wishbone, was a fellow named Butch Hobson.
Oh, yeah, from Boston Red Sox. He was a third baseman for the Boston Red Sox.
He also played some defensive back at Alabama, and I've been reading about him in one of my football books. His dad played football for Alabama,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
he never lettered. It was hard to letter back then. He played in a lot of games,
I know,
but
it's hard to believe,
he
yeah.
didn't. They didn't give him a letter. But
That's crazy. Can you play on the field in an actual game and you don't consider that a letter?
he played 7 games and didn't letter.
I think it was hard to do.
According to
that.
this book, yeah, he had about.
They must have changed that later. Because, I mean, literally, if you got on the field, like Braxton Barker got on the field this year in a game, he lettered.
Well, that's right. It was subjective. Is you set your own policies for how many quarters or percentages of and it was hard to. Not everybody you could play, but now you're right. You walk out on the field one time and they say you lettered. It's not a big deal anymore.
He was hit and knocked down by Russ Wood.
Well, I'll tell you,
Alabama 14-yard line, and they take over on down.
In that state championship season that I was a sophomore, I played in 3 games in mop-up duty out of 13 games. Well, I didn't letter. I mean, I didn't even think to ask. I knew I didn't letter.
Yeah. Okay,
so I couldn't get a letter jacket.
I still feel like we need to get that state championship team some rings for some reason. I still feel like that's crazy.
That's right. They could still do it if they wanted to. I would like to mention Russ Wood. Where was he from?
Man, everybody knows. Well, he's from that's a trick question.
Sure is.
He's from Troy and then from Elba.
He was from Elba. His
but before that, he was from Troy.
Like Coach Bryant said, his daddy was an outstanding football coach.
He was from Elba, but he has many, many friends in Troy to this day.
Also, this one right here, some of these Alabama folks and Auburn folks can maybe get it. Larry Blakeney, quarterback, linebacker from Auburn University. Where was Larry Blakeney for? Great football coach at Troy.
Gordo.
Same place as David Housel, the longtime sports information director and athletic director, and he's really the Auburn sports historian, David Housel.
And how about
I've talked to him several times.
2 of the great players in Auburn history. A lot of people said on the 1957 national championship team at Auburn, these were the 2 guys that were very instrumental. This is another one that I would probably need to give away $100 bill, but I'm not. Zeke Smith.
Great player. He was All-American. I remember that.
Great Zeke Smith.
Where is he from? That's a good question. I don't know.
He's from Phoenix City.
No, sir. Ball.
Where's he from?
I'm gonna give y'all another chance.
He's from Atala.
Nope, Bob.
He probably played about the same time that Peggy Cox's brother played.
I'll give y'all a hint. It's located between.
Problem is, you probably don't remember.
No, I do remember too. Zeke Smith was a great All-American, and he came from a little bitty town located between Selma and
Uniontown.
Uniontown. How did you get that, man? Where'd you pick that up?
I used to make that drive a lot back in the day.
Uniontown, little town of Uniontown is where Zeke Smith came from. And then how about this? This name is
Alabama had one of their best basketball players from there too, named Irwin Dudley.
Oh, I did. I wouldn't.
You know, we forget about him. Thank you. Irwin Dudley was really. Alabama had a string of great power forwards in the C.M. Newton, Wimp Sanderson era. That was the core of the team. They always had a great inside power forward, and Irwin Dudley was one of those power forwards.
Dudley played for Godfrey, though.
Yeah.
Oh.
Check Yankee Burkett.
Dudley led Alabama on the 2002 SEC championship team.
Well,
they honored this year. Actually, Godfrey came and spoke during the game, but Irwin Dudley played at R.C. Hatch.
Well, scratch everything I said. I'm thinking of some other great power forward, like somebody like Ansley, and then there was somebody before him.
There's some folks out there.
Alabama's got a big Senate race. I met Katie Britt actually at a game with Dad at a Troy game this year. I guess the only game I went to, the Liberty game. And I was reading right now, Mike Durant, the former POW.
He's impressive.
In the Army, they say right now is leading the Senate race by 10 percentage points.
Well, that's
according to an independent poll that's come out. Durant has 32.8% of the vote, followed by Katie Britt at 22.9%. Richard Shelby just gave Katie Britt $6 million out of his war chest.
Oh, boy.
For her campaign. And then U.S. Rep Mo Brooks is at 11.7%. Does that surprise you, right?
Yes, I thought that Shelby could just kind of anoint whoever he wanted to be his successor, and if he gives $6 million to you, he wants you to be. Plus, he worked for it on his staff for years. So
all that money, Shelby, in his war chest, I mean, that he has. I mean, does he get to keep that later in life, or does he have to give it all away? How does that work?
That's a good question. I don't. Surely you just can't keep it, because that would be. I mean, these war chests are huge.
I guarantee you, they end up getting to keep it.
Well, he just gave.
He's got millions of dollars. He's done well in life.
They get to keep their money.
They get to keep their money. Said.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they figure out a ways to keep it, but that would be just brazen. In other words, you get a campaign donation and you just retire, and you keep that $1 million from Apple or whoever gave it to you.
I've got something here. You might be proud of Steve Flowers for this. I love Steve Flowers, a good friend of mine. I read his articles. This is it. Mo Brooks is the last person Alabama needs as a U.S. Senator.
Gosh, Steve's going
That was the headlines of his article. Mo Brooks is the last person Alabama needs as a U.S. Senator.
He must have had some dealings with Mo Brooks through the years.
He must have.
Well, I got to read that one.
Oh, gosh.
Trump, he had the endorsement of Trump, and then I think Trump's called back his endorsement of Mo Brooks.
Yeah.
Now all these candidates run as a Trump Republican. That's all they say is I'm a Trump guy.
A good buddy of mine grew up. We grew up and played football.
Who is Katie Britt's husband?
Weston Britt. He was at the Troy game too.
He's a monster. He's 6'8". Yeah.
Yeah, he is a giant.
He sure is. A good friend of mine is an attorney in Elba. And when Shug Jordan was doing the broadcast of their playbacks, he would say, this guy was from Merle Shirley. Merle Shirley, my friend, was from where?
Elba.
You got it. You got it.
You just said he was from Elba.
That helps me.
Okay. But Elba also, he grew up in Greenville for a little while, but he went to high school at Elba High School. Merle Shirley, defensive back from Elba, Alabama.
So Stu Jordan, he gave the hometowns just like Coach Bryant did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Stu Jordan. Everybody talks about the Coach Bryant show, but Stu Jordan had a great show too.
We talked about that yesterday.
I watched. They both came on one after the other, and I watched them both. Now you're talking about the Pat Dye show that Phil Snow produced at WSFA. That was real high production value.
Yeah, they spent more money on it.
They cared about it more. But it gave a better image of Auburn.
It didn't
I mean, Pat Dye's show was really it was really good too. Coach Dye was such a great character.
Oh yeah, exactly right.
Far smarter than people. He was a smart man.
Well, it's 8:11. Let's go to a break. We'll be right back.
Slam Dunk Savings are in Troy. All used cars, Slam Dunk price. All used trucks, Slam Dunk price. All used SUVs, Slam Dunk price. Plus, all you need is a weekly take-home income of $350. Nobody beats a premier deal. Nobody.
The all-new Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center brings all of the latest and advanced 3D mammography and breast ultrasound services to the Troy area in our all-new outpatient facility. Dr. Lauren Thorington, along with our team of certified breast specialists, read your mammograms, which are performed by our registered radiologic technologists, bringing the best in women's healthcare to the Troy area. Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center.
I wish you could taste how much better food tastes when cooked on a Green Mountain grill, but I can let you in on the reason that's true. Our pellets contain water, so they create steam while you cook, keeping your food moist. Does a gas or charcoal grill do that? I think not.
Come and see us at Southern Grill and Patio just off the square in Troy.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone, so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
We're back on the air.
So it's brought to you by our good friends at First Citizen Bank of Luverne and Steve Sanders and
Now, I'm going to switch it
William
off.
Petrie and all the great people.
I'm going to name some Troy University players, and then you tell me where they're from.
I love doing that, yeah.
Tim Tucker.
Tim Tucker from Enterprise, Alabama, played linebacker and was an All-American.
I'm going to name some of the players that just from the Coach Bradshaw era first.
Good.
Willie Tullis.
Willie Tullis came out of Headland, Alabama.
Yep.
All-American.
Joey Dennison.
Joey Dennison came out of Troy, Alabama.
Michael Kelly.
Michael Kelly came out of Troy, Alabama.
Willie Collins.
Willie Collins came out of Troy, Alabama.
Let's see.
Where's Danny O'Toole from?
Danny O'Toole was from Palmerdale, Alabama.
Where's Ted Clem from?
Ted Clem is from little town south of Greenville, Georgiana.
What about Mike Turk?
Mike Turk out of Robert E. Lee High. No, excuse me, not Robert E. Lee. JD in Montgomery.
What about Shane Watson's brother, Tommy Watson?
Tommy Watson. They lived in a lot of different places, but
Selma.
I was about to say the Watson coach.
Selma. I'd say Selma, where he went to high school.
He was a quarterback at Troy.
Yeah.
And then he coached a lot of places and became a headmaster. He's a real nice man.
J. Jeff coach, where did he come from?
Montgomery.
A lot of people consider where was the greatest defensive lineman. A lot of people say in Troy history, other than DeMarcus Ware, O.C. Miura, Antoine Marsh. Where was he from?
Antoine Marsh.
From Birmingham. No,
Antoine Marsh is from Baghdad, Florida.
Oh, that's right. I missed that, Mike. You got me.
Who's the guy playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now? He has to be. He's had one of the longest NFL careers.
Yeah, but he really wasn't great at Troy till his senior year. He didn't even start. Steve McClendon.
Yeah, that's right.
Antoine Marsh actually ran the ball too in the backfield and scored touchdowns.
Well, we lost him, but Al Lucas.
Yeah, Al Lucas.
Oh, he's a great.
God, he was a great player, and he looked like a football player, didn't he, Mike?
He came out of somewhere in Georgia. I can't.
He had a brother named Lenny Lucas too.
Yeah, he's in the Sports Hall of Fame, I hope.
Oh yes, that's right. He's one of the first ones to go in there. How about this young man right here? He was a running back. His number was number 33. Where was this guy from, and what was his name?
Ted Horsted from Elba?
No, sir. But Ted Horsted from Elba Played at
Number
fullback at
33
Troy.
when I was in college was Maurice Stringer from Opelika High School.
No. Michael, all right, this guy played at the University of Alabama. He was
Calvin
a running
Culver.
back. Calvin Culver.
I love Calvin Culver.
Coach Bryant
You know,
always said.
we didn't even advertise this yesterday. I'm looking at all these pictures on Facebook, but the World Championship trophy that the Atlanta Braves won was on view and on display at Trojan Arena yesterday. Apparently, hundreds of people went up there and got pictures taken with the Atlanta Braves championship trophy at Trojan Arena.
You know, I have seen that trophy. I'm going to tell you my story, right? It has a Brian Meadows tie. Brian Meadows makes his major league debut, probably he's 22 years old, for the Florida Marlins, right?
Yeah.
I happened to own the Troy Citizen at the time, and one of my star writers is Andy Murphy.
Yeah.
And so it's a big deal. Nobody from Troy has ever played in the major leagues. So I said, we're going to cover it. Well, I'd like to cover it, but we couldn't have covered it. But it happens that Andy's daddy had an airplane and was a pilot. So Mr. Murphy, Tom Murphy said, yeah, we'll fly down there. I'll fly you. And so we got press passes from our weekly paper and go down and watch Brian make his, he pitched pretty good. He pitched about 5 or 6 innings. Well, Andy and I are going up in the elevator to the press box at Marlins Stadium, and who walks in but 2 people carrying the World Series trophy that they had just won the year before.
Freddie would won or what?
I don't know who it was. It was just 2 random Florida Marlin employees. But, you know, the Marlins had won the World. That's the reason Brian Meadows was pitching, is because they won the World Series, and then they promptly traded all of their star players and brought up all these young players from the minor leagues.
Yeah.
Brian Meadows being one of them. Well, so isn't that bizarre that you're driving, you're flying, going up in the elevator, and there, right next to you, is the World Series trophy?
Yeah. Of course, Rice is definitely that much bigger than I am, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I grew later in life. I would be a tight end if I was this size.
Matt Wise was from what town? He's former running back at Alabama. Matt Wise was the first player to score a touchdown in the Bear Bryant era.
From Elba, wasn't it?
From down out here at Elba, living now in Luverne, but he was Elba. Who was his running mate at Elba?
Scooter Dice.
Scooter Dice, the tandem of Scooter Dice and
Wise,
Mac Wise. They call them Dice and Wise. And
from Elba, Alabama.
Were great players out of Elba, Alabama.
Scooter later lived in Montgomery. I would see him, Mr. Dice.
He owned Pate Dice Sporting Goods in Montgomery, and then he had several business ventures.
You know, it's interesting news here. You know, we have name, image, and likeness, and this is taking over all of college football over the country. But Jason Jones of Jones Medical Supply, I'm watching a tweet. Our first NIL deal went live today with a young man we are proud to be associated with. Paulson Marshall is now representing Jones Medical Supply in name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's interesting. You know, I mean, these Troy players. I mean, I hope more people in the community will do this.
Yes, I would too.
That is. Thanks for bringing that up. That's cool. So it took over a year for one. Everybody thought this would change football. I said no. It's going to change. You know, the Alabamas and the Auburns are going to do it, but the smaller schools like Troy they're not going to have anybody that gets any big. And then I doubt that he's got a contract that's going to change his life in any significant way. But still, good for him.
That's right.
It says Carlton Marshall is 104 tackles away from having the NCAA career record for tackles. Look it up. And then it's got Carlton Marshall talking about Jones Medical Supply in Troy or Greenville. But a little plug for Jones Medical Supply here.
You know, I have said that, and this has been done in the past, there's a trucking company that they're not going to do it. They don't have to do it. But if they wanted to, they could do NILs with offensive linemen or defensive linemen and bring in the best offensive linemen and defensive linemen in this country and represent their truck line. And there's nothing in the rule book that would prevent it.
I want to mention a good buddy of mine, passed away this past weekend, and our prayers and our thoughts go out to his family.
Who's that?
And
well, I see. I was looking at the obits. You got Lee Mobley,
yeah, that's right. Yeah. And of course, we appreciate getting this information.
Well, don't you think that Tucker Kilcrease could get an NIL deal?
I don't know.
I would want to represent him.
It's like 28,000 people are without power right now in the state of Alabama.
Are you serious? Yeah.
There was also damage at the University of Montevallo, a dorm roof at Montevallo sustained damage. That's a real pretty campus there, if nobody's ever seen it.
No, I've never been on the campus of Montevallo.
I tell you, it is a beautiful campus. I've been there before. And
name some alumni.
A good friend of mine was the
Troy Mafias from
yeah, a lot of local people went to school at Montevallo, and the chancellor is one of them.
Doug Patterson, Chancellor Hawkins. Did Colonel Smith go there too?
I think so.
Yeah, he did.
You know,
Dad's friend was a coach there, wasn't he? Leon Davis.
Yes, sir. The athletic director there too.
Isn't the mayor of Montgomery Strange?
Yeah, he went there, and he grew up in Mobile with Coach.
With Jack Hawkins.
Jack Hawkins, yeah.
Jack Hawkins Chancellor Hawkins went to Murphy High School, didn't he?
Mike, I wanted to mention just a while ago, Julius Pittman's father died, and
oh no,
he's a great guy, great Marine Corps veteran, and I used to love to talk to him. Of course, his son Julius was an outstanding wide receiver at Troy University.
Well, he's one of Bobby's best friends. My brother,
that's right.
Julius and Bobby have been like brothers for. Yeah. So, and Mr. Pittman, oh man, he what a great, fun man.
Just a few months ago,
he lost his wife.
He lost his wife. So we're awfully sad for you, Julius.
And Christy, and that's so sad.
No question about it.
Wanted to mention this too, because Troy now has 3 new members in the Sun Belt. Actually, 4 new members in the Sun Belt Conference in football. But Conference USA will only have 11 members in the league next year. UAB will play their final year in Conference USA in football, which they've done really well. But Coach Clark's schedule for the upcoming season now has been officially announced. They'll start the season on September 1st with Alabama A&M coming to Birmingham. The next game will be a trip to play Hugh Freeze at Liberty. That'll be a tough game. They got blown out by Liberty in Birmingham this year. Then they'll play a Sun Belt team. They'll play Georgia Southern at home. They'll have a bye week. Then they'll be at Rice.
Shouldn't be any problem at all.
October 8th, they'll be home against Middle Tennessee State. Then they'll be home against Charlotte. They'll go on the road at Western Kentucky, on the road at Florida Atlantic. My favorite team of last year, University of Texas San Antonio, will visit Birmingham on November the 5th. And then home with North Texas at LSU on November 19th. Remember that game.
Yeah.
And then finish the season at Louisiana Tech on November 26th. That's the UAB Blazer football schedule.
Yeah. It doesn't look like it's going to be much problem for them to handle that out. They'll win at least 8 ball games.
Talking about their nice new stadium in downtown Birmingham, I saw that they have booked their first concert at that stadium. Y'all know who it is?
Yeah, Garth Brooks.
The great Garth Brooks is going to perform a concert in that football stadium. Now, I have seen one concert at a football stadium in Birmingham, and it's one I'll never forget.
What was that, Beatles?
Well, close. Who would you rank behind the Beatles and the all-time great?
Rolling Stones.
The Rolling Stones came to Birmingham.
I remember that, yeah.
And when I was in my late 20s, maybe, they were pretty old, but not that old. And man, Legion Field was sold out, buddy, and it was a fantastic concert.
Yeah, I remember being in there one night for a Birmingham Fire game, and they had Jerry Lee Lewis perform before the game or after the game.
I saw him at a homecoming at Alabama when I was a student up there, It was Jerry Lee Lewis on the front end of the bill, and then Bo Cephas, Hank Williams Jr.
Oh,
on.
boy.
I wanted to go see Hank Williams Jr., but
Yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis came on first, and he would never get off stage,
Oh,
and he
really?
was awful. He was so old, and
Yeah, I know it.
I said, "Oh, I don't even know if I stayed for Hank Williams Jr." It's just
I tell you, have you ever heard Hank play the fiddle? He can play the fiddle like very few people.
Hank Williams Jr. is.
Yeah, Hank Williams Jr. just lost his wife.
Who?
He did.
He lost his wife.
Oh no.
Who's that?
Hank Williams Jr.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He lost a daughter in a traffic accident not too long ago too. Oh no, I'm so sorry.
We hate it. Of course.
I met Hank Williams Jr. when he was doing the Almeria Club album. KT Cole got me in. He was buddies with.
Yeah, that's right.
And I had the citizen, and I got to go watch him cut an album in this old community house that Hank Sr. had once. His father had once played in that place.
Fields Crossroads up there?
Well, it's up in the Bullitt County, Pike County line, in a little Almeria. So I'm watching him cut an album of all these musicians in this old country house in the middle of nowhere. And his manager, who's kind of famous himself, said, you know, Hank really doesn't talk to the press when he's cutting an album. I said, that's fine. I was just enjoying watching it. Well, they finally took a break. Sisters catered it.
Yeah.
And so he's eating, and he comes over and we chit-chat for 20 minutes. Couldn't be any nicer.
But he came to my front porch one day.
But I asked him about these songs. I said, I'm blown away by these songs. They were really, really good. That's a good album. Yeah. I said, well, when did you write them? He said, well, I wrote most of them just in the last couple of days. How do you have the talent just to...
Yeah. He came over to my house and rang the doorbell, and I got there, and all I saw was a big old hat and a big old beard.
Actually, I went to the door first and had to go get you.
Did you know it was him? Did you know it was him?
I went to say, Daddy, it's the man from Monday Night Football at our front door.
You're talking about a surreal experience.
Yeah.
Knock at the door, and then there's Hank Williams Jr. at your door.
And he was just as regular a fella as you'll ever meet. He just a
regular him and Brian Meadows are good friends, and William Johnson knows it better than anybody.
Oh, yeah, William really knows.
Yeah, they are real close friends.
No telling who William Johnson knows. He's a fine young man.
Well, you know who is the big country music guy now, Dad, is J.R. Rummels.
Really? Are you serious? He's done well, Mike?
Oh, he interviewed Matthew McConaughey the other day. He's called J.R. the Handler. And he represents Justin Moore, but he's gotten real big in the country music.
Well, I tell you what, he's a Pi Kappa Phi here at Troy.
Wow.
And he's one of my favorite
guys. His brother Jamie used to do work for y'all.
That's right, yeah. But so how did he get so famous so quick, Mike?
He started representing all these country music bands and all these big acts. And
well, I tell you what, we'll have him come on.
He had a picture the other night with George Strait.
Yeah, okay, that's great.
You know who is a good friend of Hank Jr. is Kid Rock, who also has land right here near us, hunting land. Yeah. And Kid Rock's been in the news a lot lately and has a big concert coming up. And Tucker Carlson's has done a big documentary on Kid Rock.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah, I saw Kid Rock at Bama Jam. Him and Hank Jr. both played down there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to let this one go for a day, and we appreciate the Matthews Law Firm and all of our sponsors. Thank you so much for watching. You can see us again at 1:30, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and shiny, for Today in LA.
Slam Dunk Savings are in Troy. All used cars, Slam Dunk price. All used trucks, Slam Dunk price. All used SUVs, Slam Dunk price. Plus, all you need is a weekly take-home income of $350. Nobody beats a premier deal. Nobody.
The all-new Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center brings all of the latest and advanced 3D mammography and breast ultrasound services to the Troy area in our all-new outpatient facility. Dr. Lauren Thorington, along with our team of certified breast specialists, read your mammograms, which are performed by our registered radiologic technologists, bringing the best in women's health care to the Troy area. Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center.
I wish you could taste how much better food tastes when cooked on a Green Mountain Grill, but I can let you in on the reason that's true. Our pellets contain water, so they create steam while you cook, keeping your food moist. Does a gas or charcoal grill do that? I think not.
Come and see us at Southern Grill and Patio just off the square in Troy.
Troy Cable Security